Today we're going to be doing front brakes on a 2008. It's a Nissan Altima. We're going to be replacing the front brake pads, and we're going to be resurfacing the front rotors. So let me get some tools, and we're going to get started. I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, basically what we're going to do is we're going to remove the two bolts in the back of the caliper right here. We're going to take out this one. We're going to take out this one here, they're 14 millimeters, and we're going to remove the caliper from the car. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these two bolts underneath here. I believe they're 15/16. They look like they're pretty big. We're going to remove these two, and we're going to take that mounting bracket off of the car. But before we do anything, I want to show you what I always do. It saves a little bit of time. We're going to check the slide pins to make sure everything is functioning as it's supposed to. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to come in here with a screwdriver. You put it inside here, and you'll see it comes out the side over in there, right? And then what you do is you just slowly pry on the caliper, and it recesses the piston all the way back in. Now by doing that, you can check to make sure that these slide pins here are functioning in the way it's supposed to be, because now that the pistons are pushed back in, these should slide fairly easily, and they do. So we know the slide pins are not frozen, and we're going to just lubricate them when we put it back together. So let me grab a couple of tools, and we're going to get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out those two 14 millimeter bolts in the back here. You can just loosen them. And once you loosen them, you can pretty much take them out by hand. Take them out. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the caliper from the car totally, and just relocate it out of the way so we can take that mounting bracket off. Okay, take that out. It's a good idea to never let the caliper hang by itself by the hose, because you could damage the hose. So we just take a hanger or a piece of wire, whatever you have, and just relocate it up and out of the way like that. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out those two bolts in the back that we talked about. They are 15/16. You can use a large ratchet, or I'm using a breaker bar because they're pretty tight to get them off. But you can use any kind of ratchet you have. And once you break them loose, you can pretty much turn them out by hand. By securing the caliper up and out of the way, it's not going to interfere with anything that you're doing here. I'll just take that out of the way. The rotor just comes right off. Now, one thing I just want to show you real quick in here, the face of the rotor right here, I'm sorry, the face of the hub bearing gets a little bit rusty. So it's a good idea to take a piece of sandpaper or a disc or whatever you have and clean this off so that you don't have any kind of a pulsating brake pedal when you put it back together. So let me just grab an air wheel. We're going to do that now. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing. All right. Okay, now that we got the rotor machined and we cleaned up this hub right here, we're going to put the rotor back on. I always put a nut on here to hold the rotor in position while you put the mounting bracket and you put everything else back on. Then before you put the caliper mounting bracket back on, I pull these pins out right here, lubricate the pins so that they slide nice and easy. Same thing on this one here. Pull the pin out, just lubricate it, put it back in, makes everything slide nice and easily. Next thing you're going to do is wherever the brake pad is going to touch, you're going to put some grease to make it slide nice and easy so that it doesn't bind up at all. Alright, put a good amount of grease on so that everything slides freely. Alright, once you have it all lubricated, then we can put the mounting bracket back onto the car and put the bolts in through the back, those 15/16 bolts that you previously took out. Before you tighten them, make sure you have both bolts screwed down as far as you can go, and then you can tighten them up. And those are fairly tight in the back there. Right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our brake pads on. These brake pads can only go on one way. You see this little clip right here? That little clip goes inside here. So what happens when the brake is applied to the rotor and you take your foot off the brake pedal, this clip pulls the brake pad away from the rotor so it doesn't have a constant drag on it. First, and you're going to put that clip in just like I showed you in the front there. You have the same clip in the back. Right, you put it in like this, and you catch that clip inside. Make sure your clip is underneath this clip. And you see how it lets it pull out? Just slide while you're holding it with your hands, put your caliper over the top of it so that your brake pads don't slide out of these little clips right here. Right, and you screw both bolts in that hold the caliper to the mounting bracket. And then you can tighten everything up tight. Okay, I just want to show you real quick what you just have to check for to make sure it's done correctly. And that would be, you want to make sure that your make sure that these clips are on the top of the pad as they are right here, because now when you step on it, it applies, and when you take your foot off, it pulls the pad back out, so it doesn't have a constant drag on it. We have both of our bolts up top here. The 14 millimeters are both tight. The 15/16s here are both tight. The inner brake pad here, the clip is set as it's supposed to be, and that's it. You're all set. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go around to the other side, and we're going to do the brakes on the other side, and we're going to wrap this job up and get it out the door. All right, any questions, any comments, anything I can do for you, drop me a line. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.